sign C.J. Spiller for something other than sitting on the fucking bench.
31 other passes that should have been intercepted with you.
So that's why I have David Johnson on my board higher.
If you're doing a live draft, wait till you're drunk to draft this guy. We welcome you to the Fifth Down! What up, Fifth Downers? This is Johnny Slokes, and you're here at the Fifth Down Fantasy Football Podcast. We have a new contributor today. The Diesel Doctor is in town, and introduce yourself.
How you doing, everybody? I am the Diesel Doctor, and I'd like to answer all your needs, your starting lineup this week. Thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. Today we're going to be doing our Week 8 matchups. We got some juicy ones today. Before we get started, we just want to read off a new review we had on iTunes. Just want to let you guys know how appreciated we are when we get these. Kia Biatch, I hope I said that right. Totally appreciate you producing a non-fluff waiver wire episode early in the week. Many other early week pods are all about how much money some subscriber won that week with Cole Beasley in their lineup. Thank you for getting to the point, but I'm docking you for a half star for the way you say G up and nard.
Very nice.
We appreciate you, and we appreciate some more reviews like that. I really like the honest feedback. You want to jump into some news and notes?
Let's do it.
All right. So Jerick McKinnon did not practice yesterday. He's still bothered by the ankle, but they do play on a Monday night, so he still has a chance to possibly practice on Saturday. He is out of his walking boot. You think maybe you should start being a little bit concerned about this one, right?
I most definitely would. They say he's trending towards starting, but you never know. The bad thing about it, it is a Monday night game. It gives him time to get healed. But if he doesn't play, you better have somebody in backup road ready to go.
If you are still considering McKinnon in your lineup, do not put him as one of your two running backs. I would leave him on your bench and leave that flex spot open. That way it gives you a little bit more flexibility in your lineup.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And the good thing is there's a lot of teams on bye this week, actually the most for this year, so he could be a decent flex spot. Wouldn't you think so?
Oh, most definitely. Even if, say, McKinnon's not to go, I think Asiata could be like a plug-and-play, definitely, especially with all the bye weeks. Like over half the league is going to be on bye these next 2 weeks, so definitely some.
I totally agree with that. One thing you got to be worried about, wouldn't you think, is Chicago's kind of an underrated defense this year.
They are a little bit improved, actually. So that's the one thing you do got to worry about. I do think, though, that Minnesota should be able to handle them pretty well. We'll get into that in a little bit later in the show. We'll sticking with this game, actually. Jay Cutler will start this week. I think that kind of boosts Alshon Jeffrey's value a little bit. What do you think about that?
Oh, I couldn't agree with you anymore. That's the one thing this offense has been lacking. Not that he's a good quarterback, but anybody that has Alshon Jeffries has got to be really happy right now that Cutler is getting in there. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, because it's been kind of a disappointing season for Alshon Jeffrey thus far. So I think that Cutler has that history of peppering his number one target. So I'm looking for him to have a bounce back. And maybe not this week because of the matchup, but maybe somewhere down the line because they also have a bye next week. So maybe like week 10.
Yeah. The thing I would probably be worried about is anybody that picked up Meredith. Doesn't that get him not a very good matchup, seeing that Cutler's got a good relationship with Alshon Jeffries? Wouldn't you have to kick him down a few notches?
Well, a lot of his value did go down once Hoyer went down, so I would still try to hold on to him just to see what his value is like with Cutler at the helm, but definitely wouldn't be plugging him in your lineup.
I agree. And another thing, you got to look at the tight end. What's that do for the tight end now?
Yeah, Zach Miller wasn't really doing very well those first couple of weeks when Cutler was playing, so he was really thriving with Hoyer. I think the whole team was kind of thriving with Hoyer. I mean, not really in the win column, but fantasy purposes. But I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I would say, with Cutler in the lineup, he's a slinger. He'll throw the ball. I would almost want to start a defense against Chicago now, looking for the pickoffs.
This would be the week. Got Minnesota. All right. Jeremy Langford was practicing in a limited fashion on Friday. Obviously, he's not going to play this week. They got the bye next week. Week 10 is looking like a messy backfield for Chicago. I think it's going to muck it up even more than it already is.
I couldn't agree more. I was thinking once Howard got in there, he looked dominant. I didn't think that we would be where we're at now, but right now it's everything's up in the air over there. What's the backup Carey? He seems like he's got a bigger role that running back in the offense.
He actually outsnapped Howard last game.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's a backfield I want to stay away from right now, I believe.
I couldn't agree more. Jamal Charles, he's not going to be available for Week 8. His knee is still giving him some issues. They're going to probably bring him back very slowly with the way Ware's playing, so that's not a surprise.
Yeah, that's a touchy situation there. I'll be honest with you, if anybody's desperate for a running back, wouldn't you want to consider West right now as a true backup?
You talk about Chikandrick?
Yes.
Maybe. I do think that Charles will eventually come back at some point this year, but I guess maybe a rental handcuff, but I wouldn't really look too much into it.
Yeah, that's a real downer for Jamal Charles. He's getting up in age, and I just don't know if he's going to be able to come back. This is a second knee operation. And
it's always concerning once you have surgery on that knee, and then you finally get in the game, and then it swells up on you.
Yeah, when that's what I'm talking about. I mean, they're a run-heavy deep offense, and if something was to happen, Wes would be the guy, wouldn't he? Wouldn't you think?
I mean, if Ware was to go down, he'd be the next man up.
That's what I'm saying. If you're desperate for a running back, that's a heavy run offense right there. I'd definitely be looking at maybe picking up West if you had, if you got a deep bench and you can afford to do it. That would be one you'd want to consider picking up.
Okay, I can get on board with that. C.J. Anderson, I'm sure you all heard by now, he is heading to IR. He is done for the season.
Yeah, what a tragedy.
I just heard about the news last night, and welcome to the Booker train.
That's another situation, with a heavy run offense.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you kind of be looking at Bibbs? Something was to happen.
Well, it's another situation where you really got to have the bench space to do it. There's better handcuffs out there, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just looking at the offense, the way they run the ball. Someone's going to have to pick up the slack. I can't see him running the ball the whole year. I don't see it happening.
He's going to definitely get in there for a change of pace, but I really like Booker as like a back end RB1, maybe a high end RB2.
I would even put him higher than that. I think he's got a chance to be a top 5 running back this year.
I know a lot of people are boosting their chests out right now because I think they hit the lottery.
Yeah, if you play FanDuel, you can get them at the minimum.
I would say 75% I think that you could do it.
Owned.
I think you could do it, but I think if you're doing like a tournament style play, I think a lot of people are going to be picking Booker in a tournament play.
Yeah, you want to stay at the low percentage owner value. If you're playing money, you definitely want Booker in there. But if you're going to play big tournament, everybody's going to have them, so you might as well just look elsewhere. You can look at like Rob Kelly, Gillisley, someone like that. You might have better odds.
Yeah, I was actually reading a nice piece that's saying that Gillisley is probably a nice player to put in for a tournament play because a lot of people will be having their attention to Booker. And Gillisley has a bad matchup, but he has that touchdown appeal too. So,
well, I think it kind of puts him in the same category as Rodgers. He's going to get the volume. they have nobody else really other where they got Williams over there.
I think they're at the last leg right now.
Yeah, I agree. But one thing I will say is Buffalo has a very good run offense. I mean, they know how to move the pile. And it's New England's pretty good against the run, so something's going to give, I believe.
All right. Martilius Bennett missed practice on Friday. They say he should be good to go on Sunday, though, so nothing too much to worry about. But I know I think I'm kind of a little bit worried just on the fact that, he's going to be playing second fiddle to Gronk a lot this year, so I'll probably leave him right there on the bench.
Well, you could, with all the buys this week, I believe you could still get him in there in the flex, just for the simple fact that Edelman hasn't been doing much this year at all.
Oh, it seems like his foot's bothering him again.
Yeah, so if you don't have anybody to play and you want to get Bennett in there, I wouldn't have a problem with playing that flex.
Sticking with the Patriots, Dion Lewis practiced for the second straight day. He's in a 21-day window. He looks like he's probably return for week 10.
Yeah, that's what they're looking at. And what does that do with White's value? Wouldn't he be a sell high candidate right now?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I do think that they'll probably ease Dion Lewis in a little bit. They're not going to just throw him right into the mix. But I think by week 12, I think by week 12, Dion Lewis will have that role to himself.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
That's right in time for the playoffs too. So if he's still available on the waiver wire, it's definitely a guy you want to jump on. I couldn't agree more. All right. Most definitely. I'm sure most of you guys heard Tevin Coleman's not going to be available this week. So look for Freeman to have a monster workload. LaShawn McCoy, doubtful for week 8. He's probably not playing, so fire up Gilsley. Boy, did they ever mess that up. You would think they want to set him out last week so they could have him with the showdown with New England. It was originally supposed to be like a 2 to 4 week injury, and then they said, "Oh, you know what? We're gonna try and get him in there." And he said he felt fine, but they really fucked that one up. I don't think we're getting the full report. That's just my opinion. I think it's worse than that they're leading on to be. It wouldn't surprise me. Teams tend to do that. Yeah, it's a good thing they got the bye coming up. Was it next week? Yeah, I believe they have a week 10 bye. So hopefully, if they don't see any signs coming back from the bye, then wouldn't you speculate something's going on there? I mean, he has a history. He has a history, I mean, I'm almost comparing that right now to Martin. To Sammy Watkins? I don't even want to go there. But Martin was only there's another player they botched, too. Yeah, he was only supposed to be out a couple weeks. Now look what that turned into be. So hopefully that's not trending to be like that. Whoever didn't pick up Gilsley, shame on you, especially if you're the owner of McCoy. Yeah, definitely. I don't know what this really means, but McCown is going to be the starter for Cleveland. I think that kind of boosts the value for a lot of players on that offense, but for Cleveland. Especially Barnage. Yeah, Barnage, he's been doing okay. I think he's more of like a borderline player. I think that's definitely going to push him into maybe a top 10 tight end now. Yeah, he flourished in that offense with McCown. That's got to boost his value up quite a bit, I would think. All right. And Corey Coleman's pretty close to returning too. Yeah, I think he's a week away. Yeah, he said as soon as he's able to catch passes, he's going to be playing. So that came straight out of his mouth. Yep. I've been hearing some reports that Niles Davis will be more involved in the offense this week after only getting 2 carries last weekend. Yeah, I've been hearing some rumblings about that. I'm just not a big Niles Davis guy. I think his best years are by him now, and he's not. They're desperate. That's all I got to tell you. I think their best bet is Ty Montgomery. I think at Niles Davis' best, he is a goal line short yardage back. He's really never been a guy that catch passes out of the backfield. So I think look for him to be utilized like that in the short yardage situations. Yeah, most definitely. I think if I was to guess, that's probably what I would
think that's how they're going to play him because I can't see him being, an early down back. I mean, he's just not effective anymore.
Over under 6 carries.
If they have the lead, over. If it's a close game, under. I
do think it's going to be a close game, but I think that Green Bay is going to abandon the run like they did last week. I mean, we'll get into a little bit more of that later. Tony Romo, he's been practicing in limited fashion too.
I
think
heard
they're
that.
going to have to make a decision soon?
I'll be honest with you, I can't see him taking Dak out. I think Dak's earned everything he's gotten up to this point. I think that's his position to lose at this point.
Yeah, I think it'll fuck everything up that they have in the locker room if they just throw Romo back into the starting spot. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I think he's more or less a backup right now.
All right, you ready to jump into some matchup?
Let's do it.
All right, I guess the best place to start is I fucking hate these games. The London game, Washington and Cincinnati. Cincinnati is favored by 3 in this game. Over under is 49.5. So it looks like they think it's going to be a shootout, huh?
I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't agree more on that. I mean, surprisingly this year, Cincinnati they're getting manhandled on the ground.
Yeah, they're getting thumped.
They are. That really surprised me. I think they have a good defensive line. They're just not playing up to their potential right now.
Yeah, they're 23rd against the run this year.
Yes, they're getting manhandled. And what does Washington like to do? They like them short, intermediate passes, and they like to run the ball. So
yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a game where whoever can stop the run will probably win this game because both teams are pretty bad at stopping the run. To be honest. So I think whoever can stop that run game is going to be the winner, and it just so happens to be that Matt Jones is out. So how do you feel about this running back situation with Washington? You got Rob Kelly, you got Thompson. Who do you like more in this game?
Well, be honest with you, Rob Kelly was tearing it up in the preseason. They really like this guy a lot. PPR, Thompson's actually the one to play. But, Rob Kelly, I'll tell you what, if he plays like he did in the preseason, he's a big back. He reminds me of David Johnson. They're about the same size, like 6 foot 225. So he's a load to take down. If he gets in there and he rushes for 100 yards, Matt Jones, I mean, he's got to be worried about his job right now if he does that.
The way I'm looking at it is I think that Thompson's probably going to out-snap Kelly, but Kelly's probably going to get more carries. Like we're going to want to use him in between the tackles, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I'm definitely at the goal line too.
Yes, of course. I do think that Thompson is still a nice flex play maybe in PPR leagues, but I think you could put Kelly in the flex as well.
Yeah, you could. Like I say, this is week 8. What do we got? 6 teams on the bye?
Yep.
Okay, it's the biggest bye week of the year. So you can get away with playing Pat Kelly in a PPR or a standard. He's better in a standard than he is PPR right now. Thompson's more of a, he's going to catch the balls out of the backfield. He's third down back. The coach said that, that he's not a real big guy and he's not going to run the ball much at all. He might run the ball 4 or 5 times, I'm guessing. But it's
they'll
mainly
probably try to get him outside Kelly. A little bit.
Yeah, they want to run the ball. They're going to go with Rob Kelly. He's going to be the early down back.
They got to hope that they can establish a run game because Cincinnati actually has a pretty good pass defense. I think they're like number 12 right now in the league. So they definitely need to establish a good run game against this team.
Cincinnati's been giving up chunks of yardage every week. So it's in London. It's not like it's a home game. They're both on the road.
Who do you like to win this game, considering the spread is -3 in favor of Cincinnati? Cincinnati's favored by 3.
I'll be honest with you. You're talking to the diesel doctor. I'd take the 3 and take Washington. I'm gonna go the opposite spectrum here, and I'm gonna take Cincinnati. Well, A.J. Green, who was it? Josh Norman, defensive back.
Yep.
He's had A.J. Green's number. That's the only reason I'm saying that. he's had his number. You know, Washington's, if they could run the ball, do them short passes, control the clock. Their defense has been looking terrible this year. Let's not sugarcoat it here. I definitely think Washington has a chance to win this game. They're Washington's road team, but it's not in Cincinnati, so you can throw the 3 points out the window. I'm thinking Washington is going to win this game outright.
I think Cincinnati's going to win this game because they've recently had some success running the ball, and they're going to control the front lines, and they're going to milk that clock down with I think it's going to be a Jeremy Hill type of game. And I mean, obviously they're not going to go away from Gio, but I think that they're going to milk this game. They're shorten this game down. I don't really see them putting up. I don't really see them getting over 49.5 points in this game. If I had to take a pick, I'd probably pick the under in this game. I don't really think it's going to be that high scoring.
I could get on board with that. I mean, I would think Washington's going to stack line of scrimmage. That's just what I'm thinking. I think they're going to stop the run. They're going to sell out. And, Josh Norman, he's the wild card. They only got one receiver.
Jordan Reed is going to be back for this game. How do you think that's going to affect a guy like Jamison Crowder?
I think his value goes down, but we don't know what's going to happen with Josh Reed. It's not a good situation. He's had 6 concussions, I believe it is now.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know how much he plays. They haven't even come out and said if he's going to play yet. I'm thinking he's trending towards playing.
He has been practicing, so there's that one thing. Like you said though, I don't know exactly what his snap count's going to look like coming off a concussion. So it's definitely something to be monitored. I don't know if I would really feel comfortable starting Jordan Reed in this game.
Yeah.
Even though Cincinnati is pretty bad at stopping tight ends, I still don't know how much he's going to play. So it kind of bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, and not only that, let's face it, Caldwell, he's been tearing it up lately. And, he plays in that slot, and, they have a hard time stopping people like him. I think he could be a wild card factor in this game.
I think both teams are going to want to try to stick to the ground in this game. I can see Cousins maybe doing something a little bit here and there, but I think that both teams are going to want to try to run the ball.
Yeah.
Do you want to go over to the other side of the ball now?
I would like to say one more thing about this game is Deshaun Jackson is out again.
Yeah, it's something that's been happening a lot lately.
That he was good at stretching the defense. So that,
you think maybe they could use Crowder that way?
I'm thinking they could use Crowder's. Like I said, Crowder's going to be the wild card
fast
in this game. He's fast, and he also uses him on punt returns and stuff. He's been doing good this year. He's going to be the wild card.
I think that boosts the value of Garcon a little bit too.
It does, yes, definitely. They got to throw the ball somewhere.
Yep.
And then you got a not so healthy Reed. It's just touchy situation. But yeah, I'm thinking it definitely boosts the value.
That's another reason. I think that's another reason why I think that Washington's going to want to try to run the ball a little bit more, is because everyone's kind of banged up over there. So
yeah, I think they're both going to try to run the ball. It's just who's more effective, who's going to win this game.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's all I got to say about that.
Let's go over to the other side of the ball. Andy Dalton's been playing some good football lately. I know, granted, one of them was against Cleveland, but he's been playing pretty well. They've been running the ball. They've run the ball pretty well. I know Jeremy Hill had something like 20 yards a carry or some shit like that last week.
Yes.
Who do you like on this side of the ball?
Well, Andy Dalton is the number 7 quarterback in fantasy football. He's got a passing rating of 100.7 right now. For the simple fact they've been playing from behind. Excuse me?
So does that surprise you a little bit?
Actually, it doesn't. The way the defense is playing, they've been forced to throw the ball a lot. But Andy Dalton, he's top 7 quarterback this year right now. You got to give it to him.
Yeah, like I said, the Red Rocket is rising right now. Got A.J. Green. He said he gets a pretty tough matchup. He does tend to seem to struggle sometimes when he gets challenged, That's something I've noticed in the past.
This is the one matchup he has struggled throughout his career against Josh Norman. So that's why, we could go back again. I think it's going to be a run game. He's going to get his shot. But Josh Norman's had A.J. Green's number. So that kind of throws a monkey wrench into everything, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, who would be that next guy that's going to step up? I mean, let's face it, Brandon LaFell's kind of terrible. Eifert's still kind of
getting them touchdowns, though. I mean, he's been scoring.
Would you like to see a little bit more volume his way, though?
Well, I don't think you're going to. I think it is what it is. He's not gonna wow you. He's more or less a possession receiver. He's going to catch some short passes. He's not going to get any yards after the catch. But one thing he's been doing this year is hanging on to the ball. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of surprising, huh?
Yeah, he's been hanging on. Usually he drops the ball. He's been hanging on to the ball, and that's why his values went up. And that's why Dalton's been looking his way in the end zone. Because, you got A.J. Green drawing double, sometimes triple coverage. Who's that leave open? LaFell, wide open.
Triple coverage didn't stop A.J. Green last week.
Sure didn't. I think
that was an amazing catch, though.
With Josh Norman, it's going to be a totally different story. I think they're going to be running the ball.
Do you think that maybe Tyler Eifert can get more involved this week?
I would look at Tyler Eifert, definitely, especially in the red zone. Actually, last week they used him, for first downs and red zone target.
It just seemed like he wasn't really on the same page.
Involved. Yes. I think he's going to be a little bit more involved this week. You got Josh Norman's going to be on A.J. Green. Eifert's a big target. He's got sticky hands. So
that's the one thing he is good at is catching touchdown passes. So maybe I'd still like to see him get more on the same page with this quarterback before I start saying yes, we can trust him.
He's right now. Eifert's more touchdown dependent than anything else. So that's
what he was last year too.
I'm looking at maybe 4 catches, 40 yards, maybe a touchdown in there. And that's where I got him.
I could see that happening. I think I would be a little bit surprised if he got anything more than that.
Yeah.
Are you ready to go over to the next matchup?
Would you like to touch on that Jacksonville a little bit before we head on? That nasty game on Thursday?
Oh, you mean that fucking horrendous performance by Beebe?
I only have one thing to say about it, really. I only have one thing to say about that game. That was the very worst performance by a quarterback I've ever seen in my life. How in the hell does he throw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and get a passer rating? What was it, Johnny? 57, something like that.
It was below 60. It was below 60.
It was ugly. That was the worst performance I ever seen out of a quarterback.
He was trying to throw back shoulder throws that were like 5 yards off the mark. He was throwing balls into the dirt. He was fucking terrible. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it.
I believe he was, I don't know how you do this. He was 33 for 54. How does that even happen? But you know what? For fantasy value, he'll probably be a top 5 quarterback this week.
What is interesting is pretty much all of it came in the second half, too, because they only had like 60 yards of offense in the first half.
I agree. Yeah, it was an ugly Thursday game.
He really thrived in the last 5 minutes of the game, though.
Yeah, it was a very ugly game. The only one I thought that did look good was Allen Hurns. He went 7 for 98 and got a touchdown.
Obviously a lot of that came in garbage time, but we'll take it.
Well, that's what Bartles does. He's a garbage.
Yeah.
He's just. I got to read this to everybody. Here we go. Bartles, 33 for 54 for 337 yards, averaged 6.2 yards a throw, 3 touchdowns, with a passer rating. Get this, 59.6. How do you do that?
And he didn't. It's not like he turned the ball over either,
No turnover, no interceptions.
I think Allen Robinson had like 15 targets for like 70 yards. So he was getting wide receiver 1 targets, but wide receiver 3 production.
It's hard to catch the ball when it's in the dirt.
Oh yeah, I mean, if the ball's bouncing 2 yards in front of you, you're never going to catch it.
Okay, Alan Hearn's done a curl. It was a 10-yard out curl. A 7-year-old could have made this pass. He was wide open, and he threw it in the dirt.
Well, you've seen the commentators there saying that his mechanics are they're fucking awful right now. Like
His mechanics.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't ever seen his kind of mechanics in any other quarterback.
This is his mechanics. They hike on the ball. He gets the ball. He brings it down to his hip. Then when he brings the ball up, he twirls it in his hand, and he winds up like he's trying to throw a fast pitch.
And then it ends up being a slider into the dirt.
Yeah, it takes him like 30 seconds to get the ball off. All right, let's move on. I ain't got no more to say about this game. It was an ugly game, and everyone knew Tennessee was going to blow them out. And a lot of that was just garbage time from Jaguars, and Bartles will always be a garbage time quarterback. That's all I got to tell you.
He sucks the big dick. All right.
Yes, he does. Let's get on to
Seattle. Seattle at New Orleans. Seattle is actually favored on the road by 3 points.
Man, this is going to be a juicy one here.
Well, I think this could be a trap game for Seattle. I know New Orleans isn't really a good team, but Michael Bennett and Cam Chancellor are both out. And, we all know that Breeze plays better at home. And I think that's definitely going to help his cause right there.
I think this is going to be the week that Russell's going to get on track. I think you got to attack New Orleans through the air.
Are you a little bit worried about his injuries?
Well, you know what's surprising? That you brought that up, his injuries. I don't think he's playing to his potential right now. I think he is hurting a little bit. But I think this is one game where he could overcome all that. The surprising thing, he's only got 33 rushing yards all year. Is that not the same quarterback?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with his knee and his ankle issues. Like, I don't think he is running as often, and I think that's why,
Yeah, usually this year he has 200-300 yards rushing.
Right now at this point in the season, he is quarterback 25. Last year, he was quarterback 25 at the same exact week. And from that point on, he was quarterback 2. That's a very interesting statistic. I think that he could be a potential buy low candidate,
Oh, yes, most definitely. Now, not only that, like I say, you just mentioned he's been playing through injuries. He's been injured. I think this is a get-well game for him. I think this is coming out party against New Orleans. I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but I'm saying he's going to throw the ball a lot.
Well, the 30th ranked pass defense, he should be able to have some success. The question is, who is going to be the benefactor of his passes?
Oh, it's got to be. It's got to be. I'm looking at Jimmy Graham. I think that they may want to target him. Just the simple fact he come from New Orleans, and then I think
that's kind of where I was going with it.
Yeah, and I think Baldwin's going to have a good game. I think those two right there. I'm not sold on Lockett this year. I'm really not. I think the two that are going to benefit is Jimmy Graham. Let's face it. I think this is his game.
I think this is going to be a revenge game for Jimmy Graham going against his old former team. I think that he can have a breakout. I know that New Orleans is like 15th in the league against defending tight ends, so they haven't been as bad as usual, but I could see Jimmy Graham having a 100-yard game, to be honest.
Yeah, I could see Jimmy Graham lining up as a receiver, too, this game.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. They like to do that sometimes.
Yeah, they're going to do some he's going to do some damage in this game. I think it's a revenge game for him, and he's going to show them that he still has it. And you know what? He's the number 2 tight end this year. And, a lot of teams didn't even draft him.
Yeah, he was to be had like towards the beginning of the season on the waiver wire,
Yes. Yep. Yeah, he was on the waiver wire, and he got picked up week 2 or week 3, something like that.
Another guy that may or may not have been on your waiver wire earlier this year is Christine Michael. I think that he could have a pretty good game this week against New Orleans, and they might have to lean on him if Russell Wilson's injuries are like more than what we think, I think that they might have to rely on the run game.
The Diesel doctor called that last year. Remember, I told you watch Christian Michael. I was wrong about last year, but I knew he was going to have a coming out party, and boy, has he had a coming out party this year.
Yeah, I already had to admit to everyone that I was wrong about Christine Michael. I was not a Christine Michael truther, but you know, he came out and he got that starting job. I know he's been struggling the past 3 weeks, but 2 of them were against pretty good defenses. So I think he can have a rebound game here against New Orleans.
This is a get well game for him.
Yeah,
and I'll be honest with you. I don't think Roll's getting. He's not going to come back and take over that position. I think it's
still a
Christian
couple weeks
Michael's
away
to lose.
too.
Yeah, I think he's going to be just coming in for a breather. That's all it's going to be. Interesting note. I believe Seattle has dropped Spiller. Doesn't that boost the value up at pro size?
I was hoping that they would get him more involved, and once they signed Spiller, I was like, well, it doesn't look like it's going to happen this year. But yeah, you got to think someone's going to want to take that 3 down, or someone's going to take that 3rd down role, and he would be the most logical choice, you know.
Yeah, and he's I don't know, everybody's followed him very much, but he's kind of a hybrid running back. He could play the slot. He can line up as a receiver. I mean, he's very
he was a
talented.
receiver, and he was a receiver at one point in college.
Yes, he's kind of like a Ty Montgomery. He can catch the ball, he can run it. I mean, it's gonna be interesting.
Maybe that's kind of like the direction this league is going to start going with more hybrid players.
Yeah, it looks that way. Yeah, this is. He'd be a nice little sneaky pickup right now.
All right. Anyone else on Seattle that you want to mention right now?
Well, that's about all they have, John. They don't have much. I mean, they got a run game and they got a tight end and they got one receiver. That's it. So let's move.
All right, let's go to the other side of the ball. We got the New Orleans Saints playing at home. Drew Brees is always a lot better at home. He struggled a little bit last week on the road against Kansas City. I guess go against a pretty tough pass defense, but like we said, Michael Bennett, Cam Chancellor are out. Who do you like on this side of the ball?
Well, I think Cooks, he plays good at home. I like Cooks in this game.
Yeah, I'm not as big on Cooks because he tends to struggle against big physical corners, and Richard Sherman fits that bill pretty well. I think that the Saints might look other places. I think Michael Thomas is going to have a decent game though.
I like Michael. I think what they're going to do with Cook I believe Sherman only plays on one side of the field though.
Well, he may or may not shadow him, but I'm just saying, like, if he does get matched up with Sherman, it's going to be a matchup he's going to struggle with this week.
Yeah, I would think they would put somebody else on Sherman, and they would try to get Cooks more involved, out of the slot, maybe, What do you think?
Yeah, I will, if they put Cooks in the slot, I don't think Sherman will follow him there.
Right.
Another guy,
big play guy.
Another guy I'm not liking this week is Kobe Fleener. Seattle, he's seventh in the league in defending the tight ends. And got an interesting note about Kobe Fleener is his snap counts. His snap counts have been going down every single week so far since week 3. He had 37% of the snap count in week 3, 64 in week 4, 56 in week 6, and then week 7, he had 38% of the snaps. So he's losing playing time. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they have 3 very capable receivers, and they want to get them all on the field at the same time.
And they were saying that Kobe Fleener has finally starting to understand the offense, because it's a very complex offense in New Orleans, that he was trending upwards. To hear them statistics, I mean, that's mind-boggling. I think he's officially boom or bust now.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a sit for me for now and in the foreseeable future.
I couldn't play him this game.
Yeah, I like Michael Thomas though in this game. His last 4 games, he has 38 targets and 3 touchdowns. Isn't he second on the team in targets? I think he's right behind Cook.
Yeah, and he's a real surprise this year. I like his game a lot. He surprised me this year.
He's the perfect replacement for Marquise Colston. He's the same size. but he's faster.
He is faster.
I mean, it's not hard to be faster than Colston, but I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. Brandon Cooks has 50 targets this year, and Thomas is right behind him with 49.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're both right there.
Cooks has more yards because he's had them.
Well,
he's had
he had 2 90-yard touchdowns.
Right. Yes. I mean, Michael Thomas has got 36 catches on 49 targets.
Very
and then
efficient.
Very efficient. Right. Very efficient. And then you look at Cooks. He's got 32 on 50 targets. What does that tell you?
Yeah. What it tells me is they should probably get Michael Thomas more involved.
And I think he is.
Yeah, he is getting more involved. That's the reason why, probably.
Yeah, I think he is. He's very, very much involved in that offense.
Do you think Mark Ingram's going to do anything in this game? I don't.
You know what? That's a surprise this year. I'd be trying to sell him right now.
I think a lot of people have been trying to sell him. He's just not getting the usage like we thought he was going to get. I mean, the defense is just terrible, which cuts into his production.
Yes. Well, see, I thought just the opposite. I thought they would try to run the ball to control the clock a little more, and they just haven't done it.
That's what smart game plans do. Like you want to mask your weakness. Your weakness is your defense. Keep them off the field,
And they just haven't done it. And you know what? I can't hardly blame them because Drew Brees, he's an MVP.
He's been on fire this year. I was so wrong about him.
Fire. Me too.
I was so wrong about him. I thought he was going to struggle for some of these tough matchups this year, but
he's on fire.
He's on pace for like 5,400 yards and like 30-something touchdowns, and yet his team's still terrible.
Yeah, he's just on fire this year. Wow, that's all I can say. Wow.
All right, let's move along to the next matchup. New England at Buffalo. New England is 7-point favorites on the road.
I think this is going to be one of those ugly games. I just do. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, ugly game. And I'm thinking this could be a trap game for New England. On the road, they never play good in Buffalo, let's face it. This could be a trap game for New England. What do you think?
The Buffalo does tend to play them pretty tough. The only thing I have with this is, Buffalo is really bad at stopping the run, and, Blunt's been pretty good this year.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. I could definitely
see Tom Brady having a down game this week, though. I think that New England might employ a run-heavy offense this week.
I can see that happening.
Just for the
fact that I think it's going to be a tight end game, what I'm thinking.
I don't think that at all because Buffalo is a top 5 defense against tight ends. And remember how bad their secondary looked at the beginning of the season?
Yes.
Well, they're now 11th ranked pass defense.
Yeah, that's
why I think they're gonna employ a lot of LeGarrette Blount this week. I think that we're gonna see him in the trenches early and often.
Well,
which might hinder White's. I think it might hinder White's value a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Well, when I said it's going to be a tight end game, I didn't mean for New England. I meant for Buffalo. You know why? Because they don't have no one to throw the ball to.
Yeah, Goodwin out with concussion. Woods, the game-time decision. They got to throw the ball at somebody. I mean, let's face it, Justin Hunter shouldn't even be on the team.
Do you think that ups Gilsey's value, maybe short, intermediate passes? I mean, they got to throw the ball to somebody. Would that give up a little boost in the PPR?
You got to think he's going to play nearly all the snaps for Buffalo.
I'm thinking all the snaps.
Yeah.
Tyrod, he could have a big game. I could see him running the ball.
That's something that he likes to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as far as offense, the only ones you can really look at is Charles, Gillislee, and the quarterback. That's all they got. I don't trust any of their receivers.
Well, you shouldn't because half of them don't even belong on a roster. Let's be real here.
I'll say that's it. So, Belichick, what's he best for?
Taking away your number one option.
Who's their number one option?
I think at this point, Clay's inconsistent. Woods may or may not play. It's got to be Gillisley.
I think they're going to put a spy on the quarterback, and I think they're going to take Charles out of the game. I think they're going to put a corner on him. That's what they're going to do.
Maybe. That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but I think they're going to put a spy on the quarterback, and they're going to try to take Charles out of the game because that's their only passing option, And then where does that leave you?
I think that in order for Buffalo to win this game, they're going to have some big plays on defense. Let's be real here. Their offense needs some help.
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
All right. If we go over to the other side of the ball, I just wanted to mention that, Gronk's been, obviously been on a tear, but are you a little bit worried about him going against a top 5 defense? Because it seems like for some reason, the AFC East actually, they kind of lock on to Gronk a little bit.
I am kind of worried, to be honest with you. I could see this being a low-scoring game. And, like you said at the beginning, I think they're going to try and run the ball. They get in the red zone, they might look at Gronk, but, it's...
Isn't it kind of weird to be worried about a player that's been on fire lately?
Yeah. I think, who I think benefits from all this is Martellus Bennett. If he's healthy and he's going to play, I mean, is he banged up a little bit?
He did miss practice, but that was on Friday, but that was the only practice that he did miss, so I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Yeah, I think that's who benefits, though. So this could be one of those Bennett games.
Usually when a team is good at stopping a tight end, it's because they have a linebacker or a safety that can run with a tight end.
Right.
Well, if that player is on Gronk, I mean, logic would think that would leave Bennett on a weaker defender, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I would, Bennett would be a nice little sneaky play as a flex this week, to be honest with you. I like that. But.
All right, is there anyone else in this game that you want to mention?
Nope, not really. I mean, I think Tom Brady's going to have just an okay game. I don't think it's going to be anything spectacular.
I got him right around like 230, maybe one touchdown pass.
That's about where I got him.
I could see him throwing an interception too.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cold. It's supposed to be windy. I think it's going to rain. I mean, it's not a good recipe.
All right. Moving right along, we got Kansas City at Indianapolis. Kansas City is favored by 3 on the road. Vegas is thinking this is going to be a shootout. The over and under is at 50.
All I got is I don't trust Smith. I don't. I think KC is going to try and run the ball because that's what they do.
They're going to ram the ball down in Indy's throat. I mean,
they're going to run it down his throat. Let's face it.
Yeah, the past 2 weeks, Alex Smith has attempted 22 passes and 24 passes. So they're really not interested in passing the ball.
I mean, look what he did against Oakland. Nothing.
Yeah, I'm saying he threw the ball 22 times against Oakland because they were running the ball so well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're not going to be throwing the ball against Indy. They're going to run the ball against. They're a weak defense. Yeah. They got one of the best running backs in the league. Spencer Ware's having an incredible year. Let's just face it.
Yeah, he's on fire.
He's on fire. I think KC controls the clock. They run the ball and they play average defense.
Yeah, Alex, like we were just saying, Alex Smith does not. He doesn't throw the ball that often. I mean, really, the only reason why he looked halfway decent against the Saints is because he had 2 touchdown passes. But take those away, I mean, he only had 24 passes. You know what I mean? For like 220 yards. That's an Alex Smith type of day right there.
So, what do you think the score is going to be?
Well,
I think it's going to be one-sided.
If I had to bet on this game, I would definitely take the under. I don't think that they're going to get over 50 points. I'd say Kansas City will win something like I don't know, 24-7, 24-14, something like that.
That's about where I have them. I think Indy gets a couple touchdowns. Who do you like on the Indy side of the ball?
Well, I mean, I think you got to kind of have to like T.Y. Hilton. He's gotten 10-plus targets in 6 out of his 7 games that he's played this year. He's actually the target leader in the whole entire NFL right now. I think that's something that's going to continue. I know they got Moncrief coming back, but I mean that sounds like a pretty bad. That sounds like a pretty bad injury to come back from a broken shoulder blade. So I mean, I'd like to see where he's at as far as playing time. I mean, if you're in a dire need to start a wide receiver, go for it. But otherwise, I'd probably just leave him on the bench.
Well, can I throw a stat at you here?
Go for it.
It's, you know what, is Doyle. That's all I got to say is Jack Doyle. He's not real fancy. He doesn't light the league up or nothing. He's been moderately used. He's the number 12 tight end in football right now. But he's tied for the most touchdowns at 4. He's got 4 touchdowns this year.
Well, he seemed to have really started to thrive once Dwayne Allen went down. It'll be kind of interesting to see how he's used once Dwayne Allen comes back, because it seemed like they were both kind of cutting into each other's production at first. I do like Doyle. Probably not this week. Kansas City's pretty good at defending the tight end, but definitely he's definitely a start as long as Dwayne Allen is hurt.
Here's another stat. He's only had 33 targets. A lot of them have been coming, like you said, since Allen's been out. But you know what? He's caught 29 out of 33 targets.
Pretty efficient.
So that's very efficient.
Do you know how many of those came in the red zone?
I do not. But he is leading on the team in red zone targets. I do know that.
Yeah, so I know that's kind of where he thrives, is the red zone. He kind of, it kind of reminds you of what Eifert last year, you know?
Yes, a little bit. Yep. I mean, look, I just want to name some of the players that Jack Doyle is ahead of right now. It's mind-boggling. I mean, of course he's ahead of Colby Fleener. Here's one that just surprises me. Travis Kelce's behind him. Jason Witten, Julius Thomas, Ebron. Dwayne Allen's way down there. Jacob Tamme was on fire too. He's way down. He's ahead of all these players. Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
Where do you think his ceiling's at?
I think I got him right there where he's at now, as like a back end tight end 1.
That's kind of where I have him. If he's Indy's always going to be playing from behind. He leads the team in red zone targets, and they're going to throw the ball a lot.
That's something to like on a team that's trying to come back.
Yes, exactly. And
who's been kind of a surprise for me this year for Indianapolis is Frank Gore. Frank Gore has been actually pretty productive on a team that's always coming from behind, but he's still putting up RB2 production. Yeah, old man Gore.
He just keeps chugging along, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's an ageless wonder. Yeah. He's. I think didn't he have 100? I think he had 100 yards last week.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I've been trying to get him in one of my leagues I'm in, but the guy's not budging, and I was hoping that maybe he wasn't understanding what Gore's been doing this year, but he's been pretty good, especially if you got him in like the 8th or 9th round. Like, that's really good.
I'll tell you what he's been doing this year. He's the number 10 quarterback in the league this year.
He's
rushed the ball for 717 times. He's got 495 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay, I mean that's and they're always playing from behind. He's averaging 4.2 yards carry.
He's been getting a little bit more involved in the passing game as well. So that's another thing to look at, because it's something that we thought that maybe that's a role that he would lose this year to some guy like maybe like Ferguson or someone else that they would pick up, but that really hasn't happened,
Well, he's got 20 catches, and 26 targets. He's got 2 touchdowns in the passing game, so you might as well give him four touchdowns this year. He's been well
if they could actually start winning, if they could start winning some games, like he might get more involved in the red zone carries, but that's something that remains to be seen.
Yeah, he's kind of under the radar running back, but hey, he's a top 10 running back this year. I'll take that any day of the week.
Luck has been playing a little bit better lately. How do you feel him going against a Kansas City defense that's struggling a little bit? They're 18th in the league in pass defense. How do you think Luck's going to do this week?
I don't like it at all, and I'll tell you why. I don't think he's going to have time to throw the ball. I think they're going to get after him this week. I just don't think he'll have time to throw the ball.
This is the most quagmire matchup ever. You got an offensive line that can't block and a defensive line that can't get pressure on the quarterback. Something's got to give.
Okay, and guess who leads the league in interceptions? Kansas City.
Marcus Peters.
Yeah. I think they're going to be all over him this week. So it doesn't bode well for Luck this year. Although he's been having a good year, I just don't think it's a good matchup.
Yeah, I like we both agreed that we kind of have Kansas City winning this game.
Yeah.
We pretty much touched on all the players that we think will be utilized. Are you ready to move on?
Let's do it.
All right. This next game is the Detroit Lions are going on the road to the Houston Texans. I know you're a big Lions fan, Diesel, so do you have them winning this game?
And I do, and I'm going to tell you why. And I know, Houston, they're one of the best in the league against the pass. That doesn't bother me. Because you know why?
Because they're one of the worst against the run.
Well, not only that, Matthew Stafford's having an MVP year. He's the number 3 quarterback. He's ahead of Drew Brees this year. He's ahead of
he's been playing fantastic.
Phillip Rivers, Andy Dalton. I mean, he's the number 3 quarterback in the league this year. And they're spreading the butt. When's the last time Matthew Stafford at this point in the year has had a 105.7 passer rating?
Maybe like 2011 when he had like 5,000 yards. Maybe. I don't even know then.
You know what I like best? You know all the notoriety Matt Ryan's been getting? I mean, he's been having an incredible year. Matt Ryan has got 16 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. And Matthew Stafford's got 15 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And they don't even have – yeah, I mean, so I think it's business as usual. I actually think Detroit has a chance to win this game, just for the simple fact that they don't have a quarterback. Osweiler sucks. Let's face it, he sucks. This is going to make Detroit's defense look good this week.
Well, I think Detroit's defense is starting to play a little bit better as of late, and
they got Darius Slay's out this week.
Yeah, I was going to get in that a little bit because when we go over to Houston's side of the ball, which receiver do you think is going to have a better game out of Marvin Jones and Golden Tate? I'm tending to lean a little bit more towards Marvin Jones on the simple fact that I think that with Riddick and Ebron coming back, it's going to cut down into Golden Tate's production a little bit.
Yeah, you absolutely hit right on the button. The main person that takes his value away is Theo Riddick, because that's what they've been trying to do with Golden Tate, doing those short passes. And I think Riddick, he's got hands like glue, and I think that's going to dump Golden Tate's value way down.
Yeah, I think that's why I kind of like Marvin Jones a little bit better than Golden Tate, although I really don't know how good Marvin Jones is going to be. Yeah. I don't really know how.
Game.
Yeah, I really don't know how I feel about Golden Tate, or not Golden Tate, Theo Riddick. But this week, though, I know he's off the injury report, but Houston doesn't give up a lot of passes to the running back, and that's one thing that Detroit does like to do with Theo Riddick. So it kind of be interesting to see if they maybe try to line him up in the slot a little bit more, maybe not so much out of the backfield.
They might, but you know who? They got Washington back this week. I don't know how much he's going to play, but he is a fairly big running back, and if he can get it going, Houston's been having a hard time stopping the run.
Yeah,
so I can see them maybe
maybe
going with a 4-set in Washington 1-2 punch with Theo Riddick at third down back. They control the clock. That would be their best bet right there.
Have you heard anything about Zach Zenner being deactivated?
I have not. I don't know what that backfield. That's another backfield. It's just you don't know what's going on.
I really think the Lions could have some success. I do think the Lions could have some success running the ball. It's just I don't know who's going to be that guy. So it's kind of like you just said, it's a situation you want to stay away from.
I think if Washington's healthy, I would think he'd be the one. I mean, it's hard to say. Like I said, that backfield's a mess right now. They got 4-set. He actually did okay last week. He didn't dazzle you or nothing. He was just okay. And then they got Washington's back healthy. I don't know how much he's going to play. Houston's vulnerable against the run, so I think that's a route they would want to go, wouldn't you think?
I mean, they're definitely going to want to establish a run game against Houston because, they're pretty good. They're second in the league against the pass. So
that is correct.
All right, let's go over to the other side of the ball.
Oh, okay. Oh, boy.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, we got the cock swallower. He swallows the cock. He's not gonna. I don't see him playing very well this game. Lamar Miller is gonna be a game time decision. If you're a Lamar Miller owner,
that is really trending to be a hairy situation there right now as far as Miller's.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a Lamar Miller owner, would you think about picking up Alfred Blue? I
would. Yes. I think Blue's going to be a big contributor this week. If anything, they're going to have Miller on a snap count if he plays at all.
I mean,
if Blue goes in there and runs the ball, they may not have to play Miller.
I mean, if you see how they're using the running backs last week, do you think there could be something kind of similar that they do this week?
I do. And, it actually surprised me that Blue ran the ball as much as he did. And that's a real – I mean, Miller actually is having a pretty good year. He's just not been able to punch the ball in the end zone. I mean, he's fifth in the league in yardage, but he's only got one touchdown.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating.
It is.
As a Lamar Miller owner, I'm frustrated.
And and then you get Detroit in town. This is a get well week for Miller, and he's not healthy. That's very frustrating.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it could be a Blue week though.
I think it could also be if Osweiler can get on track. I think that Hopkins could have a pretty good game with Darius Slay out. This could be a get-well game for him, but we really haven't seen that this year. So
I don't see that happening at all. I mean, Osweiler, would they pay him $72 million?
They might have been better off just taking that money and just throwing it into a furnace.
I'm going to say one thing. This is how bad Osweiler's been this year. Bartles is playing better. That says it all. Case Keenum's ahead of him. Bartles ahead of him. Winston. Eli Manning sucks. Trevor Siemian, he's ahead of him.
Would you rather have Osweiler or Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Give me Fitzpatrick.
I mean, yeah, I think they've both been pretty equally as bad.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't know. They've been both pretty bad.
I got an interesting stat about Will Fuller. In the 3 games where he's been healthy, he's been a wide receiver 2 at home. But the 3 games on the road, he's finished outside of wide receiver 50. They're playing at home against Detroit.
So he plays good at home.
Yes, when he's healthy.
He's got to be really healthy.
You know who my stream of the week is for tight ends is actually going to be playing in this game is Fedorowicz. I don't know if you heard a lot about this guy, but he's been a PPR asset for tight ends. I mean, he's gotten 2 touchdowns the past 4 weeks, and he's gotten no less than 4 or 5 catches in the past 4 weeks. So the Texans are actually starting to use their tight end.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring him up. He has been playing good. Earlier in the year they didn't use him as much, but in the past few weeks, I mean, he's number 17 as far as tight ends go. But like I say, the last few weeks they've been using him. He's been very efficient.
Right now, I think I kind of have him as one of those fringe tight end ones, kind of right there on the border between 1 and 2. And he's widely available in the waiver wires, so you can actually pick this guy up and plug him right in.
This is one game you can play him right now. Detroit is one of the worst teams in the league against tight ends.
Yeah, they're giving up 17.8 points per game for PPR leagues to tight ends, they've given up the most touchdowns to tight ends.
And let's face it, Osweiler, he can't throw the ball downfield. He just can't. I mean,
he likes those 5-yard hitch routes.
Yeah, this is he could have a pretty big game if they could run the ball, and get in the red zone. I think that would be the one they'd be looking at right there.
He's a big dude.
He's a big guy. Yeah, he's gotten 31 targets this year, which is very good. Yeah,
most of them come within the last month too.
Within the last month, yeah. So I think he's been averaging 8 to 9 yards. Or 8 to 9 targets a game in the last 3 weeks, that's pretty good for a tight end.
Yeah, especially with how thin the tight end position is this year.
Absolutely, yes. That's a lot of targets. So, wow.
All right.
Yeah, that could be a good tight end to actually stream this
plug
week.
and play.
Yeah, plug and play. I'm on board with that.
All right, let's move right along. We got Arizona on the road to Carolina. Carolina's favored by 3 in this game, and the over and under is a 47. I know that Carolina's favored at home, but I think I kind of like Arizona in this game.
I don't know what to think of this game. I mean, give the ball to David Johnson and call it a day. That's it.
Well,
Carson hasn't done nothing this year. He really hasn't. He hasn't done nothing. The only one on the offense I like is David Johnson and Fitzgerald. That's it.
Yeah.
I say they're going to try and run the ball against Carolina.
I could see them trying to run against Carolina, and Arizona's actually second in the league in time of possession. So I could see them maybe shortening the game up a little bit. The only thing is, though, Carolina's pass defense has been pretty bad.
They're just awful. You know
so
who they miss? They miss Josh Norman.
I don't know why they just let him go.
Yeah,
go ahead and walk.
That crippled that team. Crippled them. That was a backbreaker there. Literally.
I think that Palmer can have actually a pretty decent game against Carolina. Although I do think they will try to run the ball a bit, especially with they just lost Jerron Brown to an ACL injury, and Michael Floyd was a game time decision. I mean, I think it's going to open up opportunities for John Brown.
Funny thing about their receiving core, it's been just god awful this year. The only consistent one they had is Fitzgerald. It's god awful.
They've not utilized the receivers the way I thought they were.
I don't even know the name of their tight end.
Well, they don't really use the tight end,
Yeah, I mean, you would think
Arians has never really used a tight end.
Well, they're with all the receivers that have gone down this year, you think they would try? I mean, I'm looking here at my notes, and I don't even see Arizona on here as far as tight ends go. They're just way down. I think the only team I think that uses their tight end less than Arizona is probably the Jets. I think the Jets. I don't even think the Jets have a reception from their tight end position. I don't think Arizona does either. I'm looking. I don't even see them listed.
I know their tight end's Darren Fells. He's caught in some passes this year. Not a lot of them.
Maham, whatever his name is, it's the only one. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Grayson. He's got 7 catches. Yeah, he's got 7 catches for 14 yards.
Yeah, he's actually the backup tight end, too.
Yeah. That's just, wow.
A shitload of fuck. All right.
A shitload of fuck is right.
Yeah, I can definitely see Fitzgerald balling out in this game, though. I think that trend is going to continue. He's been the most consistent receiver on that side of the ball, so I think that they're going to feed him. Right.
Yeah. Who do you like on as far as Carolina?
Well, they're going up against a pretty good defense. I'd be a little bit worried if I was a Greg Olsen owner because Arizona's the best team at defending the tight end. So I'd be a little bit
number 1 tight end in the league right now.
And he's going against the number 1 defense against tight end, so that's going to be definitely going to be a good matchup. Kelvin Benjamin's probably going to get Patrick Peterson, so I'd be a little bit worried about that as well. The one guy I do like is maybe Jonathan Stewart.
That's where I was going with this. I love Jonathan Stewart this week. I think if they were smart, they'd run the ball. That's their only chance.
There's been at times Arizona has gotten gashed on the run on the ground.
You could run against Arizona.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You can definitely run against Arizona. I mean, Cam Newton's he's just not having a good year, and and then he had that concussion. I don't think they want to run him. I don't think they want to take the chance to run him, especially against a potent defense like Arizona.
I never like to celebrate someone's injuries, but
that was
Cam Newton getting that concussion is probably the best thing that could have happened for Jonathan Stewart. That could open up some more goal line carries for him this year.
You're absolutely right. Because how many times have they got it down to the 1 yard line and it's, okay, this is Jonathan Stewart's time. Cam Newton runs balling.
And you've actually seen it fairly recently where, Jonathan Stewart did capitalize on a goal line carry. So
he's only had one rushing touchdown.
Yeah, and that was very
Cam
recently.
Newton's had one rushing touchdown since that's happened. He's only, that's it. I think that opened his eyes up. Yeah, he's just having a bad year. The whole team is. I mean, it's just
Who's
been
seen them?
one of
Like one, like what they're 1-6 or 1-5?
1-5, yeah. 1-5.
Yeah, who's seen that coming?
No, I didn't see it. Well, it just goes to show you how much Josh Norman meant to that team. They should have paid a little extra money and kept him. Best corner on the team. They just, okay, we don't need him no more. We're Super Bowl contenders. Where'd that get?
We the best.
We the best. So, is there anything else you want to do? Is we done with this one? We can move on?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. If you got Cam Newton, you're probably still starting him. But
yeah, you got to
really
start him.
Very comfortable. I wouldn't feel comfortable against Arizona, but yeah, like you said, if you got him, you're starting him. Let's move on.
You didn't draft him that early to sit him, so you start him. Unless it's Denver, then you sit him.
Well, you know what? Last year I stuck with my guns. I played Big Ben against Denver's mighty defense, and it paid off. So you never know any given week. I
played Phillip Rivers earlier this week against Denver, and I wish I would have sat him, especially when I had Kirk Cousins in my back pocket. Ain't happening this week.
All right,
that's amazing. That one little note before we move on is who made these schedules up? San Diego gets Denver 2 out of the last 3 weeks.
Well, what I really wish they would stop doing is I wish they would stop putting Chicago on primetime TV. I'm getting sick of watching them.
Oh my God! That's awful.
Yeah, that's again this week they play Monday night. Like why is that a Monday night game?
You know what else I'd like to say, and I would have never said this last year, but I'm going to say it. You know who else I'm tired of watching play on national television that's been ugly? Is Green Bay Packers. I'm done. I'm tired. It's ugly. Aaron Rodgers he hasn't played. He did good last week, but because of the volume. He hasn't played good in 2 years.
He didn't even average 6 yards an attempt.
he hasn't played good in 2 years. The whole last year, it's because of Jody Nelson. You know what? They got Jody Nelson, and he don't look the same.
He looks slow as shit. We'll get into that in a little bit, though.
Yep. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on.
All right. We got the shit bowl this week. The Jets at Cleveland. Yeah, we're talking about the shit bowl, taking the Cleveland Browns to the Super Bowl.
I think this is the week that Cleveland gets off the schneid.
Thank you for saying that because the Jets are favored at 3 on the road, but I see Cleveland getting their first victory. If they're going to beat somebody, it's going to be the Jets. You know what I mean?
Yep, I couldn't agree more.
I mean, if they don't win this game, I don't know if they'll win a game this year. To be honest,
this is their chance right here. I was just going over a few notes here.
They're getting McCown back. It's supposedly gonna help the entire offense. Pryor is off of the injury list. His hamstring is feeling fine. They get to go against a defense that doesn't really care for stopping the pass too much. There's 26 in the league against the pass. So maybe that's an area that they're going to have to exploit because the Jets are pretty stout on the ground.
Yeah, Cleveland's a little better on the ground. Their defense is better on the ground. The Jets, you're not running against the Jets. We already know that. But I think you got to attack them through the air. Yeah,
I mean, McCown has proven that he's competent enough, I guess, to where they'll be able to move the ball against the Jets. They got the over and under in this game is only 44. I definitely, if I was betting on this game, I'd definitely take the over on that because I do think this is a game that does have a little bit of a shootout appeal.
Yeah, I don't think either one of the defenses could stop one or the other. I think they're both going to score at will.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of everyone remember that the Lions and the Rams was going to be a low-scoring game, and look what happened,
Right.
I could definitely see this being a shootout. I'm going to go against the grain against Vegas a little bit on that one. Who do you think? Which running back do you like more in this game? I think this could be a Duke game.
I like Duke Johnson. In fact, I like him better this week than Crawwell. I think Duke Johnson, he's going to have a game. This is his game right here.
Yeah, I think he's like second in the league in targets for running backs, and I think he's going to get a few more. I can see him getting like 6 catches, although he's been a little bit disappointing this year because they haven't used him in the passing game as much as like they did last year, but he's still second in the league in targets in terms of running backs.
Right, yes. Yep, he is. Yep. You know who I like? And I like Forte this week. I know Cleveland's okay against the run.
No, they're terrible against the run.
Yeah, they're better against the run than they are the pass, which ain't saying a whole lot.
No, they're 29th against the pass and 31st against the run. They're just all around terrible.
Okay, well, might have had that.
Which brings you to your point. Forte going to be good.
Anyhow, I think Forte is going to have a game.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fine play, especially because Powell's a little bit banged up.
Why not take the ball out of Fitzgerald's hand and hand it to Forte? I mean, seriously.
They should have done that weeks ago.
Right. I think Forte had 30 touches last week, didn't he?
He did. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Powell had a toe injury, so Forte was their only healthy running back, so they just kept feeding the guy. You know,
they went away from Forte. The first couple weeks he was tearing it up. They went away from him. They hadn't won a game since.
Well, they did win. They won last week, and they gave him 30 touches. So
that's what I'm saying. Every time they've given him all the touches, he's played real good.
Yeah, I think that's going to have to be a trend that is going to have to continue if they want to be competitive in these games. Obviously, they're playing Cleveland, so I think this will be a pretty close game. But yeah, I'd like to see Forte just get more of that 3-down work. I know I was a Powell believer, but he hasn't really done a whole lot this year. I might as well just run Forte into the ground. He's a 1-year rental anyways.
He's at that age. It's not like he's going to have a better year. He's at that age where get what you can out of him. If they want to give him the ball 30 times, give him the ball 30 times. It looks like he's playing good.
Yeah, it doesn't look like his age is slowing him down at all.
Not at all. I mean, like we both hit it right on the button. Every time they give him the ball 25, 30 times, they won the game. What does that tell you? Give him the damn ball. Give me the ball.
I mean, you're paying this guy money for a reason, right?
Right.
I
think that's him and Marshall. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I was about to say, how do you feel about this receiving core? You got Brandon Marshall and Anunwa.
Well,
Anunwa
I think
has been trending downward, though.
Yeah, I think Marshall benefits the best out of all the receivers, especially with Fitzgerald. Even though the way he's been playing, Fitzgerald, that's the only one he looks at.
Fitzpatrick.
And Fitz, Marshall's going up against a very good corner this week. But you know what the problem is? Marshall's 6'4", and this corner is only 5'11". Enough said.
They love to use Marshall in that red zone too.
Oh God, I think he's gonna have a game. Yep, I think Forte and Marshall is gonna benefit a lot. All right. I mean,
I don't think there's anyone else that we really need to talk about in this game, to be honest.
No,
we can just move right along.
We can, sooner the better.
All right. Oakland at Tampa Bay. Oakland is actually favored by a point on the road.
Oh boy! Now we're cooking.
Vegas thinks this is going to be a high-scoring game. It's at over/unders 49.5.
I think Winston has a huge game this week. Huge game. I mean, you could stack Winston and Evans this week, and you can break the bank. I'm calling it out right now.
I do think that Tampa Bay is going to win this game. Their defense is better than advertised, and Oakland has probably the worst defense in the league. And they're traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast, which is something that they tend to not do very well at, actually. So I think that Tampa Bay is going to run away with this one.
Let me ask you something. Over and under, Winston throws the ball 50 or less times. 50 is the number. Over or under?
I'm going to go under on that one just because I think that Rodgers is going to have a pretty good game too.
God, I think he's going to throw the ball over 50 times.
I mean,
really
it wouldn't surprise me if it ended up being like a shootout. Then yeah, I could definitely see him throwing the ball more than 50 times. But I mean, if you want to think that Oakland's got a pretty good offense, you would like to think that they want to try to run the ball a little bit to keep that offense off the field.
What did you say the over/under was on this game?
49.5.
Way over.
Do you think it's going to be over 60?
I think it's going to be over 60. Yeah.
I could definitely see them both scoring 30 in this game. It would not surprise me one bit.
I could see Tampa Bay getting 35 points by themselves. 35-28. There you go. You got 62 points.
You got Michael Evans. He got 10 or more targets in 5 out of the 6 games he's played this year. So obviously he's going to be a target
leads the league
monster.
in targets this year, doesn't he?
No, that's T.Y. Hilton. I think Evans is he's in the top 5 though. I think he might be top 3. Actually, I think he might be second. I think he might be second actually.
I got some notes right here in front of me.
No, he's right behind T.Y. Hilton and Antonio Brown. I think he's third.
Targets right here. Mike Evans got 75 targets. T.Y. Hilton's got 76. And Brown has got 75. There you go. He's tied for second.
He's tied with Brown?
He's right 1 point behind T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, he's already played his bye week too, though. Keep that in mind.
He's got 6 touchdowns. Evans leads the league in receivers and touchdowns, 6. T.Y. Hilton gets some more touchdowns. He's still having a good year. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Evans, I like him this year.
But outside of Evans, you said that you think that Winston's going to have a really good game. But outside of Evans, who else do you think is going to excel in this offense receiving the ball? They don't really have a clear defined number 2 receiver anymore now that Vincent Jackson's out for the year.
I thought it was going to be Humphreys, but that just didn't pan out. There was a guy that was getting some nice work over there on the outside. My mind escapes me for his first name. His last name Shepard, though. Yeah.
He had 6 catches, 70 yards, a touchdown.
Yeah, I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, let me pull this up real fast. I think he's going to take over that number 2 spot this week. In fact, I think he's already taken it over.
Yeah, I think they kind of like Humphreys in the slot because I think that's kind of where he belongs. He's a small little white boy, he's going to stay in the slot. And that's just where he's going to play. But another interesting name to bring up in this game is Cameron Brate because Oakland's been pretty bad at stopping the tight end for about 2 years now. So I think Cameron Brate can have some success in this game.
Yeah, surprisingly, he's been playing good this year.
Yeah, I know. Me and K-Mo, we were ragging on him a few weeks ago, and he ended up coming out. But it seems like he's a little bit inconsistent at times.
Yeah, that guy's name that receiver you're thinking about is Russell Shepard.
Yeah, Russell Shepard. All right. For some reason I wanted to say Rob.
That's Russell Shepard. Actually, I think he's got a real good shot at that number 2, and you know what? They're going to be throwing the ball a lot over there. You got to love that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Winston at one point was leading the league in attempts. I know probably the bye week changed that, but he's been throwing the ball a lot over there.
He's slinging it.
All right, is there anyone
playing from behind?
Yeah, is there anyone else on Tampa Bay you want to mention?
No, not really.
Just real fast.
He's going to get the volume. He's not.
I was about to ask you. I was about to ask you if do you think he's going to get 100 yards again for the third week in a row or third game in a row?
I think he will.
Yeah, I think so too. Oakland's 28th in the league at stopping the run. I think his trend will continue.
I can see him carrying
in case you guys haven't wondered yet, as long as Rodgers is the starting running back over in Tampa Bay, I kind of feel like he's an RB1.
He's not very good. It's the volume.
The opportunity, I agree.
He's not very good at all. You know who else is not real good? But is tearing the league up. And I hate to get off the subject, but I just want to. Melvin. I mean, the guy's averaging, Melvin Gordon, he's averaging like 3 yards a carry, a little over 3 yards a carry. He's getting all the touchdowns. Do you think he's going to maintain that? I mean, how do you keep up that with that?
I mean, he's really like the only healthy back over there. I mean, they get in the red zone, they like to run the ball, you know.
It's just the way it's been. All the moon and the stars are lining up, and he's getting the ball at the 1 yard line. They're getting tackled, and they're lo and behold, they got a hand. I mean, he's not running the ball good at all. He really isn't. It's just, I mean, again, it's one of those things, opportunity. I just wanted to throw that in there. I mean, it's just he's not really. I mean, he's averaging 3.3 yards carry. But Melvin, yeah.
Let's get back on topic here.
All right.
We'll talk more about that's actually going to be the next game we'll jump into. I just want to jump over to the other side of the ball real fast. We got Derek Carr. He's been a QB1 so far. I don't think a lot of people are drafting him as a QB1, but he's been performing quite nice. I know he's kind of slumping over the past couple of games, but this is definitely going to be another tough matchup for him. Tampa Bay's 13th in the league at stopping the pass. How do you feel about him with his weapons that he has at his disposal?
Well, they're actually a hard team to figure out. They've been running a committee over, the running back situation. Looks like Latavius Murray might be taken back over again. I think he may have been hurt. I don't know, but it's a hard team to figure out. Crabtree, all he does is catch touchdowns. Murray Cooper, he's their deep threat. I mean, they just keep plugging along. I mean, what are they, 5-2 right now?
Yeah, I believe they're actually tied for first place right now with Denver.
Yeah. I mean, they're just. I mean, their defense sucks. Let's face it. The defense sucks.
That's gonna hurt them eventually, though.
I think it catches up with them, and I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Right now, I know they're in first place. I don't think they're gonna make playoffs.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I really don't think they're gonna make playoffs.
I mean, you gotta think that they have a losing culture. I mean, think about it. They're the Lions of the West Coast.
Definitely. I don't know how they sustain that, though.
I think definitely this week, though, I think it's going to be a Crabtree week, man. I think that he's going to have the better game of the two receivers. I think, he's the guy that's going to be more likely to score that touchdown, is what it boils down to.
Doesn't Oakland still have to play Denver 2 more times?
They do have to play Denver 2 more times. Luckily, though, it's not during your fantasy football playoffs. Oakland actually has one of the best fantasy football schedules out there. I think they play Washington, San Diego, and Indianapolis weeks 14 through 16.
That's not bad. So who you like in the game?
In this game?
In the Oakland game.
I got Tampa Bay winning this game, to be honest.
Okay.
I think that
I can see that. I get on board with that.
I just think that what it boils down to is Tampa Bay just has a better defense.
Yeah, they do. And
that's what it's going to come down to. I do think that Latavius Murray could actually have a pretty good game in this game. What I've noticed is every game that Latavius Murray has played, he's missed because he missed the 2 games before last week. But every game that he has played, he has scored except for one game. He scored a touchdown in every single game except for one game.
That's another mystery running back. I actually had him, a top 5 running back this year. I thought he was going to beat balls to the wall. I really did.
Oh, trust me, I was so high on Doug Martin and Latavius Murray this year because of their schedules and because of that offensive line that Latavius Murray runs behind, and then they had to go and fuck everything up by drafting a running back.
And then, Oakland, they invested all that money into that defense, and they're one of the worst in the league.
Yeah, I was actually
did not see that coming.
A sleeper pick of mine was their defense, and it just didn't pan out that way.
And here they are sitting 5-2. How does that happen?
Well, I'll tell you how that happens. It's because Derek Carr isn't taking the next step up. I've been saying it the past couple of shows. He reminds me so much of a young Aaron Rodgers. He's been playing really good. I know obviously he struggled the past couple of weeks, but I think he's definitely gonna be definitely the quarterback of the future for this league.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. They're doing it.
All right, let's go over to San Diego at Denver. Denver's favored by 4 at home. The over and unders are 43.5. So I think Vegas is thinking Denver should be able to handle San Diego. Although Denver got handled by San Diego just a couple of weeks ago.
And I'll tell you one thing about San Diego. And people don't realize this. They got that middle linebacker, that one out of Ohio. What's his name? Gosh darn, I can't think the guy's name. He's a rookie playing dynamite football. San Diego is a little bit better against stopping the run than what people think.
They're actually a top 10 defense at stopping the run.
Yes, thank you. I mean, they giving balls up through the air, but Denver don't throw the ball very good. Don't you think that they kind of got their number as far as that goes a little bit? And I know they got Booker and he's supposed to be a top 5 running back, but what's he going to do when he's on stage?
I mean,
now he's on stage.
It'll be interesting to see how he performs as a feature running back. I mean, he doesn't have to share the ball with anybody.
He played good behind C.J. Anderson, but you know what? A lot of times it's a whole different ball game when you're the featured back. It's all on your shoulders. How does he perform then? That'll be interesting to see how that pans out. That's what we were talking earlier. That's why I was thinking, maybe you might want to grab Bibbs up. Just in case. I mean, because if he goes down or something happens, they're a run-heavy offense. You never know how. And he's also had a problem fumbling in college. So
actually, his very first carry was a fumble, and he got benched for the game for it. I mean, obviously they can't afford to do that anymore. But if Booker was to go down to an injury, that'd be a catastrophe for this team.
Oh, it most certainly would.
I really don't even want to talk about that because I don't want to jinx them.
Right.
Well, I think in order for Denver to have a good game, Trevor Simeon's got to be. I like to call him Trevor Seaman, but he's got to be sharp.
Seaman.
He's got to be sharp. He's got to make crisp passes. He's got probably one of the best receiving duos out there. He needs to utilize them as such.
Yeah, he's actually surprised. I didn't think he was going to be as good as he's been playing. I think he's their best chance at winning.
Yeah, he's definitely surpassed what my expectations were. So bravo to him on that one.
I did not see that come. He actually is their best quarterback. I thought Paxton would have been out there, but no, not him. Good
call by John Elway there.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah, the old man knows what he's talking about, right?
Yep. Who do you think is going to have the better game here between DT and Sanders?
Well, I think Sanders been outplaying him the whole year. And Sanders is a possession receiver. It seems like he gets open more than Demaryius Thompson. Demaryius Thompson, I think he's not having a bad year. He don't look the same as he did 2 years ago.
I'll say this is in PPR leagues, Sanders has been pretty good over DT. In standard leagues, though, DT's actually gotten like 3 touchdowns in the past 4 weeks, so that kind of boosts his value for standard leagues a little bit more.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I could definitely see him getting a touchdown in this game too. But I really like the way Sanders has been utilized.
Right. Yeah, I was kind of going down that road. I was getting ready to touch on that. I think Demaryius Thomas he's more of a standard league player, and
isn't that weird
Sanders,
to say?
That is weird to say.
Because he's always getting like 100 catches every year, and then now it's always a standard league player.
Yeah, Elway used to throw them inside screens to him. He's take them to the house.
They don't do that no more.
Change. They don't do it no more, right? But yeah, I think we hit that one on the button. I think Sanders is more of a PPR because he's a possession receiver now.
Right,
he gets open more.
And then there's no tight end to speak of in Denver, so
nope.
I think it's safe to go over to the other side of the ball. Obviously, you're not making the same mistake again. You already said it. Rivers is a sit this week. You should definitely consider that one. I think, though, Melvin Gordon could be a good play, though. I could see him having a decent game.
Yeah.
Denver's 21st against the run this year. So I think they really miss their defensive tackle they let go, you know.
I think if you're going to attack Denver, it has to be on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah. I think the short passes, you can get away with it. You know, but as far as, Travis Benjamin, no. Williams, no. I mean, and Hunter, is he going to play?
Well, what I just heard today is he is questionable but expected to play. But with that being said, I think you're going to see more Antonio Gates this week than you're going to see.
And
Hunter
he
Henry.
hasn't looked good at all. He
looks like a 300-pound lineman.
Yeah, he looks like he's ready to retire. He hasn't looked good at all.
I mean, he's been so great for so long, it's kind of hard to say something bad about him, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying
he's washed up.
He's a Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah.
But I think his time has come and gone. And won me a lot of leagues, but he just don't look good this year. It's hard to come back from injury at his age, and it's just, it's a young man's game now. It really is.
Yeah.
He's...
Well, especially being a guy of his size, like a lot of people are going to target you lower and it's going to take out your knees, and I think that kind of cut down into his playing time a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Who do you like more between Travis Benjamin and Tyrell Williams? I know they both have pretty shitty matchups this week.
Well, you really put me on the spot, didn't you?
That's what I do. Facilitating.
I'll tell you what. The best I can do is Williams. You know why? Travis Benjamin's dealing with a knee injury. Williams got that size, too. I like the size he has.
I want to go with Tyrell Williams as well. Not has nothing even to do with Travis Benjamin's knee. It just has everything to do with, I think, that Tyrell Williams is the number one receiver. I know on the year, Travis Benjamin has more targets and he's been getting more consistent amount of targets, but he's only gotten 2 more targets than Tyrell Williams. But listen to what Tyrell Williams has been doing. 9, 8, 6, then he had 3, but last week he had 10. So I think that Tyrell Williams is going to be definitely the red zone guy if they do get down there. It'll be between him and Gates. So I don't know how much Hunter Henry's going to play this week either. So. And
San Diego's got a very good playoff schedule in fantasy.
Yes, they do. If you want to target one of these receivers, I would go with Tyrell Williams. He has a higher touchdown upside.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. They got a very good schedule.
I know that. I think they play Oakland, Cleveland, and someone else. So I think it's Kansas City, Oakland, Cleveland.
There you go.
So that's looking juicy. Is there anyone else in San Diego that we want to mention?
No, not really. I mean, they only got a few they throw the ball to, and Melvin Gordon's their offense. Him and Rivers. So there you go.
I think that Melvin Gordon's going to have to be their X factor if they want to win that game. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more. He's going to have to play better than he's been playing.
All right, the next matchup on our slate is Green Bay at Atlanta. Atlanta's 3-point favorites at home. This is probably the highest over and under I have seen on the year so far. The over and under on this game is 53.
Oh, I thought
holy
it was 73.
Shit. It might get that high. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that definitely looks like a game that could be a shootout, unless
Well, let's face it. Green Bay has no secondary. They're all hurt. Even if they're healthy, they're no good. Green Bay is I don't know how they're 4-2 right now. That team is a disaster, and I'm going on board right now and just saying, they're a disaster. I don't know if they're going to make playoffs this year.
I don't know if they'll make the playoffs this year either, but one thing I do know is I don't think they're going to win this game. I think Atlanta's going to take this one.
Oh, I think Atlanta's going to eat them up.
I think what Atlanta's going to want to do is, since Green Bay is so good at stopping the run, I don't think that they're going to try to run the ball as much, but I think they're going to do a lot of short little intermediate passes and do like screen plays, outside wide receiver screens, stuff like that. And I think they're going to substitute the run game with short passes.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Because, obviously Green Bay has the best run defense in the league. So look for a lot of receptions for Devontae Freeman.
Oh, I think he's in for a big game.
Yeah, I think I could see Freeman having like one of those games where he gets like 7-8 receptions or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I could definitely see it happening.
I don't think Green Bay's run defense is as good as I think they're doing it with mirrors. They really are. I mean,
Would you like to go in a little bit more depth about that?
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think they're going to get run on.
I mean, what do you mean? Like, you think they're kind of masking something?
I think they're masking. Well, for one thing, who have they played yet? They
do get one of the softer schedules this year.
I mean, look, Dallas ran all over them. They put 200 yards on them on the ground. They demolished them on the ground.
And let's be real, Atlanta actually has a pretty good offensive line, especially in terms of run blocking.
Green Bay hasn't really played. I mean, right now they're starting to get into the chunk of the schedule. Atlanta's for real this year. Atlanta is going to run that ball.
And if you actually look at Green Bay's second half schedule, it's nowhere near as weak as the first half of their schedule. They got all the tough games in the second half, so that's definitely something to look forward to. Well, not really look forward to, but you're gonna be like, oh shit, you know.
Yeah. So I don't think their run defense is as good as a lot of people think it is, and I wouldn't be afraid to put my running back. Even if I had a running back too, I'd play them. I don't think they're that good. I mean, you really haven't had to run the ball because they can't stop the pass.
Where do you see Devontae Freeman's stat line looking like?
I think he's going to touch the ball 25 times, and I think he's going to have over 100 yards, total yards, and I see him getting 2 touchdowns.
I got him at 17 carries for about 80 yards, and I got him at like 7 catches, maybe another 50 yards, and he's definitely going to get in the end zone. They like to get him in there.
So you got him about 100 yards and 1 touchdown?
I got him at about 130 yards and a touchdown. It's like 130 total yards.
I got him over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So we're pretty close.
And then obviously the only other offensive weapon that I think that's going to be utilized is Julio Jones. I mean, Sanu hasn't topped 50 yards since week 1. Jacob Tamme is pretty much droppable at this point. Julio Jones, I think, is going to have another week like last week where he's going to get targeted heavily. I think he had like 15 targets last week, and I could see something very similar this week.
I'll go on a limb. Julio Jones is going to have 12 catches, 159 yards, and a touchdown.
You think you definitely think it's going to be an explosion week for him? I could definitely see that happening. I mean, the Green Bay has like nobodies in their secondary, so I could definitely see him having a big game.
Yeah.
I mean, they can get by without having any corners against Chicago, but it ain't going to happen against Atlanta.
Atlanta's going to eat them up.
Yeah, I just don't see there's any possible way of Green Bay winning this game. Sorry, Packer fans.
If you're playing FanDuel or DraftKings, this is a good time to stack. I would go with Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and Freeman. Perfect stack.
You can definitely earn some bucks that way.
I would like to stack all 3 of them and break the bank.
All right, let's go over to the other side of the ball. We got a Green Bay offense that is appearing like they're trending in the right direction, but, I mean, in all reality, they're still kind of a slumbering unit. You got Aaron Rodgers. I do think Aaron Rodgers will have a decent game, though. He gets to go against Atlanta's defense, 31st against the pass.
More based on volume than anything else.
I could definitely see. I see Green Bay abandoning the running game this week. I could see him getting like another 50 to 55 attempts, and then Aaron Rodgers will have 300 yards.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I can see that happening. I think it's going to be a very pass-happy week. Aaron Rodgers is going to have to play from behind, and Jody Nelson, he's going to be Jody Nelson. I only see him get maybe 40 yards this game. He does not look good.
I got an interesting note about Atlanta's defense. They're 31st in the league against the pass, but teams really haven't been targeting those outside receivers against them. Trufant is probably going to be lined up against Jordy Nelson, so that eliminates him pretty much. And and I think Adams is going to have a down game. I think the one guy that's really going to benefit from this is Randall Cobb. The last 3 weeks, he got 11 targets, and then 15 targets. So that's all consecutive weeks. I can see him having a really good game. And I can see Montgomery catching a lot of passes out of the backfield. Atlanta gives up the most passes to running backs out of the backfield. So I can definitely see Montgomery having a really good game as well.
Yeah, I was just going to hit on that. I definitely agree. Like the receiver, I like Randall Cobb. You know, he's that quick receiver that usually Atlanta has problems with those small receivers. And I can see Ty Montgomery catching 8 to 10 passes out of the backfield.
Yeah, that's what Atlanta gives up. They give up a lot of that. So I can definitely see him having a good game.
And that's what he does best, too. So, yeah. I think, as far as offense goes, I mean, the only ones we really have to pay attention to is Aaron Rodgers, Ty Montgomery, and Cobb. That's all. And Joey Nelson's the odd man out, him and Devontae Freeman.
You know, Adams?
Yes.
Yeah. I think Devontae Adams has actually been a nice surprise. He's another guy that's surprisingly actually holding on to the ball, and now look what he's doing with the volume he's getting. But like we said, like if he's going to have some success, they're going to have to move him to the slot because they don't really. Teams just don't target Atlanta on the outside.
Agreed.
I mean, it goes to show this that like they're 29th against defending tight ends because they don't guard the middle very well. You know.
Yep, I agree. So.
All right. Are you ready to go over to the Sunday night game?
Let's do the Sunday night game.
All right. So we got Philadelphia going on the road to Dallas. The over and under for this game is 43.5, so they think this is going to be a low-scoring game. They got Dallas favored by 4.5. I got Dallas winning this game, and I got them winning by a touchdown. So I think, Philadelphia, Wentz is starting to realize that his receivers kind of suck, and he's starting to struggle a little bit.
And he's come down to earth a little bit. He's
starting to look a little bit more like a rookie.
And he's played good. I mean, I ain't taking away from the young guy. He's pretty much held his own. I mean, but
another guy this is kind of a matchup I really wanted to see was the two rookies duke it out.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see that. And I mean, you got Eagles at 4-2, the Cowboys at 5-1, and they're at home. And I think Elliott's going to be able to run the ball against Eagles because if you're going to attack that defense, it's going to be on the ground.
They're 14th against the run, so there's one soft spot on their defense.
Yes. I think that's where they attack them. And it's going to be a run game. I don't expect too much out of Des Bryant this week. I really don't. I don't particularly like playing receivers coming off injuries. I just think he's going to be a step behind. But I think he'll have an okay game.
Just based on the presence of Des Bryant being on the field, do you think that helps Cole Beasley out at all?
Tremendously. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if you noticed this, but what I've noticed is Cole Beasley's best games came when Des Bryant was on the field.
Not only that, is Dak has got a good connection with Beasley. I mean, Beasley's having a very good year.
Yeah, he was having a really good year when Dez was in. He was getting like 6 to 7 receptions a game, and then once he went out, he got a little bit extra attention. Then his play started to slack a little bit, but he's been pretty pleasant surprise this year.
Yeah,
definitely a wide receiver 3 in PPR leagues.
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely. Yeah, he's having a good year. I didn't see that coming, but again, I haven't seen a lot of stuff coming this year. It's been a weird year. Do
you think that Ezekiel Elliott will break the rookie rushing record held by Ed Dixon?
I think he will.
He's on pace to get over 1,800 yards. I definitely think that he could. That's something that could be attainable. I know it's kind of crazy to say coming out of a rookie, but he's playing behind such a great offensive line. Like, it's definitely doable.
Yeah, I think he will. And you know what's really surprising is they really haven't used him in the pass game, and he's very good out of the backfield. That's very surprising. He could be even better.
Yeah, they don't really have a lot of receptions from their backfield. Because I mean, think about his understudies, Alfred Morris. He doesn't catch the ball. I mean, who else do they have over there? I don't think Derek McFadden really has a whole lot of playing time this year, if any at all.
No.
I mean, they just don't utilize their running backs that way.
Yes, I'm just surprised because he can catch the ball very good out of the backfield.
I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with Elliott. I think it has everything to do with their offensive scheme, you know.
Who's the running back this year that surprised you the most out of all the running backs that you didn't see coming?
Well, I mean, I could take the easy route and just say Jay Ajayi because of what he's done the past couple of weeks, but I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
I think the running back that surprised me the most is a guy we were talking about earlier is Frank Gore. You know, I thought he was pretty much done for, and because I mean last year his coach was saying he was beat to shit, and he's been a pretty pleasant surprise.
Okay, I can get on board with that.
What about you?
You know who I like that really surprised me, and he's not getting all the hype, is DeMarco Murray. He's got a 756 yards rushing. He's averaging 4.7 yards a game. Got 6 touchdowns. You know,
that's an even better pick than mine because, I was not a DeMarco Murray fan, and he just plays for a team that just loves to run the ball, and they like to line him up under center, and then boom, smash.
Yeah, but the thing is now, DeMarco Murray has played 2 more games than Elliott, though, and he's only got 53 more yards.
I think that has everything to do with the fact that, Dallas has such a great line.
I think you could put anybody back there.
Ezekiel Elliott leads the league in rushing yards.
Yeah. If you look at the big picture, most definitely, because he's got 703 yards rushing. He's only played 6 games. David Johnson's got 681, but he's already played 7 games. That's the number 2 running back.
But if you want to add in those reception yards, David Johnson's already over 1,000 total yards.
Well, he's got 323 receptions. He's got oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. He's over 1,000 total yards.
Yeah, he's got 9 touchdowns altogether. Yeah, David Johnson's as far as fantasy goes, he's number 1 running back.
Yeah.
As I say, if they get if Elliott could get some more catches out of the backfield, it's amazing. He's only got 11 catches out of the backfield for 98 yards. Amazing.
Oh, that just, a lot of running backs that are rookies, though, they don't tend to shine in that receiving role. That's definitely something that he could build into going forward after this year, you know what I mean?
Supposedly, that was one of his strengths. That's what's so surprising about it. But, yeah, just a little note there to, his numbers could be even better. He's having a phenomenal year, though. So.
All right. Let's go over to the other side of the ball. Got Philadelphia. They got a running back mess. It seems like a committee, but Ryan Matthews was getting the majority of the work last week. I think that's one area you can attack. Dallas is not really so much the ground, so I think that maybe they might put the ball in Wentz's hands a little bit because Dallas is like 21st against the pass right now.
Yeah. If you're going to attack Dallas, I would think it's got to be on the ground. And I'm surprised they haven't got Smallwood involved more. I don't understand the offense. I think he's the most talented back out of all of them, and they just haven't got him involved. Another
reason why I think that Dallas is going to win this game is both teams are top 5 in terms of time of possession, but I just see Dallas just hogging the ball in this game.
Yeah, and they're at home.
It's gonna force. What that's gonna do is it's gonna force the ball into Wentz's hands more because they're gonna want to try to score a little bit quicker. And I think that might actually play into the advantage of Dallas.
Yeah. I think this game here is going to determine the division. I know it's
pretty
early.
Much. Yeah.
It's early, but this
it's going to give Dallas a 2-game cushion with the victory. So
yes. So Philadelphia needs the game more than Dallas right now. Let's face it.
Yeah, they need to come out hungry.
Yes, and I don't know. I just don't see it happening though. I mean, they manhandled Minnesota. That was surprising.
I also kind of seen that one coming just because Minnesota's offense is not good. It really isn't. So
yeah,
I kind of seen that one.
I didn't think the defense would give up that many points.
Well, it had nothing to do with the Minnesota's defense. Minnesota's defense actually played pretty good, It's just everything was set up by Philadelphia's defense.
Yeah, they
I mean, in the game with like, in the game with like 6 turnovers, like that stuff like that's going to happen.
Right. So you make a good point. So I mean, Philadelphia they got the better defense out of this game, so they're going to play up to that level in order to win.
Yeah, they're going to have to create some havoc in the backfield. Is what's going to have to come down to.
Philadelphia's already proven they could win big games on the road, and this is another huge game.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else you want to go over for this game?
Well, who do you like how about the receivers on Philadelphia? You like anybody on there?
No, I don't like anyone. Not even. I mean, Jordan Matthews is probably the best option over there, and I've never been a big Jordan Matthews fan. So. What
the hell happened to Zeke? God, their tight end sucks.
Oh, Zachary Ertz.
What happened there?
What happened was, he's never been a touchdown guy, and he's just not getting the volume. And he suffered an injury. He thought he was going to come back and have a great game against Detroit, and he didn't do shit. He's just not the guy that everyone thought he was. But he is the guy that he is the guy that I've been telling everybody that he is, because I've never been a Zach Ertz guy.
Well, they got him so low on the depth chart, John. They got Will Tye, Austin Hooper, Clyde Wolford's ahead of him, Ryan Griffin. I mean, some of these guys don't even start. They're ahead of him. Garrett Sellett's ahead of him. Come on.
Yeah, it's definitely a bust season like any other,
Well, can I throw some stats at you?
Go ahead, I'm all ears.
He's played 4 games. He's had 11 catches, 16 targets, 131 yards, and no touchdowns.
And most people that got him picked him like the 8th round.
You want to hear? This is a stat that really is staggering. He's only getting 2.8 yards a reception.
Wow.
Yeah.
That I didn't know. So. Yeah,
that's what I had to throw out there.
All right. Let's go over to the Monday night game. This is the game that probably has the lowest over and under that I've seen this year. It's at 40.5. You got Minnesota at Chicago. Minnesota's favored by 6. But the over and under is at 40.5. What does that tell you?
I think Minnesota's going to blow them out.
That's telling me too. It's telling me that Minnesota should probably handle Chicago rather easily.
Yeah.
I know they're playing on the road, but Jay Cutler's going to get eaten alive in Minnesota, I think.
You know what? I think Minnesota gets shut out.
It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't.
Yeah. I think Minnesota.
I mean, look how bad Chicago looked against Green Bay's defense.
They're going to get hammered.
Yeah, I think they're going to get swamped. I could see it being a game like 17-0 or 21-0, something like that.
You know who I think benefits out of everybody in this matchup?
What's that?
I think the ass man has a big game.
Talking about Asiata?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. He got a lot of work last week. He had like 16 carries for like 80 yards. And he was even getting work as a receiver too, out of the backfield.
Yeah, because I believe Chicago's pretty good against the tight end.
Both teams are pretty good against the tight end. Actually, Chicago, I don't think they've given up more than 50 yards to a tight end all year. So
I think
if Rudolph's going to have some success, it has to be through a touchdown.
The ass man game. I like Stephon Diggs too.
You think he's finally going to rebound? Because he hasn't really done a whole lot since week 2.
I think he was banged up. I think he's healthy now, and I think I think Sam Bradford's going to target him early and often, and Assman's going to do what he does. He's going to get them goal line carries and punch it in.
Yeah, someone actually asked me a rather funny question. They're like, should I consider sitting Stephon Diggs for Cordell Patterson? And I was like, if you're considering playing Cordell Patterson, you probably have like 1 or 2 wins on the season, don't you? He's like,
No, he has scored touchdowns the last 3 out of 4 weeks. He's definitely been playing better.